Ah, yes, here we are once again. It's a new year, but it is the same high noon hemp show. And of course, if you're watching this live, it means it's Wednesday at high noon Eastern time, which is always and forever time for the high noon hemp show. Of course, you can find us in various places, video on demand or live. Of course, we're on Facebook at the Hemptations Beach page. We're also at the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel and at Hemptations on the Twitter, the podcast, of course, Podbean, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. If you want to find us there. There are the sirens in the background heralding the arrival of the High Noon Hemp Show in a new year. I'm, of course, Stoner Jesus. You can search my various shenanigans and tomfoolery on the interwebs if you choose to. He is Beach. He is high above the Hemptations in Sharonville, Ohio, the hemp quarters, if you will. Beach, how are things this week and this year in the world of Hemptations?
Hempy New Year, everyone. Hempy New Year. We're bringing in another one, and we'll see what 24 brings. I suppose one way
Indeed.
or another. It's true, and it is true. I am high above the Sharonville location at the Planet Everywhere Studios. I like to call it. Um, Here we got a good show today. We missed last week, so that always means a follow up show to missing a week is usually doubly as good. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in the hemp world. So we'll get to that in just a minute. Remember, folks, the FDA has not evaluated this show for safety or efficacy. That being said, and of course, I forgot to bring my hemp pledge up to my pictures because I have not yet memorized it, which is terrible. I could probably almost do it if I tried hard enough. But it might be a little difficult. But there it is. I pledge allegiance to the hemp fields of America and to the soil in which it is planted. One seed under the sun with responsibility, sustainability, and thrivability for all. There you
Indeed.
have it. Hope everybody else is getting that memorized. Suppose I should say it every day when I get up.
It's
I
true.
don't have to because it's the life I lead. I suppose, just I would have it memorized in no time if I did get up every morning and read it, because I do truly feel that way every day. All right, let's get on to the product spotlight. 4 from the store, 1 from my door, as I like to say. This first one here, the Hemp Traders Argyle socks. And again, this is the inventory in Sharonville. I might have to send some of these down to the north side location so they could have a couple pairs. But nice and fancy Argyle socks, again made by Hemp Traders, some of the largest suppliers of hemp fabric in the country. These bags, Wink and Son hemp bags. We love Wink and Son. They're over in West Virginia. Got some shops over there. I remember when I went into the shop, I wasn't sure what to expect when people call themselves a hemp store, but truly was a hemp store. Little bits of everything made of hemp, and then they now manufacture their own products, bringing in their own fabrics as well from Indonesia. I don't want to get that wrong, but they do bring in their own line of hemp fabric as it is as well. So Wink and Son, check them out online. Probably if you're not around here, want to look at everything they're doing, they are online. How about the hoodies? Here's the hoodie selection. It's cold, so it's like layer up season for me. But this is our hoodie selection in the Sharonville store as well. And so if you're looking for a hoodie to layer up with, and then take you into the spring, hoodies are really spring and fall clothing to me for the most part. But when it gets super cold, I can't have too many layers, and so it's just one more. It's just one more layer in there if I need it, one way or another. And then how about some Hempy's belts? You've seen them on the next segment of the show. What are you wearing, Beach? But how about getting one for yourself? It was an okay selection. Not all the colors, but the natural is normally what most people really want. They like showing off that natural color so they can say, yeah, my belt is made out of hemp. And it's something to brag about, folks. It is. I'm telling you. I do it all the time. I'll be doing it in just a minute. Um, and the one for my door, I haven't shown this for a while, but this is my beanbag chair. Full size beanbag chair. I actually have two of these. Um, I got them for a super good deal at some outlet shop up in up north of Cincinnati. I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. But yeah, good old, and they fit me. I mean, they're decent size, um, and so they worked for my long bate. Um, I had someone, I had one of the kids needed a place to sleep for a while, and this is, I don't know, 10 years ago probably, and he put the two beanbags together and slept on them and loved it, loved it. So anyway, there you have it. 4 from the store, 1 from my door on the product spotlights here on the High Noon Hemp Show. Thanks for
Indeed.
joining us.
Which, of course, brings us to the aforementioned beachwear segment. Again, no response from the Guinness Book of World Records in my bugging them about Beach's hemp collection. I was doing my show the other day, and one of the stories I was talking about was the Guinness Book of World Records certified a guy for the fastest time in putting on 10 pairs of underpants. It took him 13.03 seconds to put on 10 pairs of underpants. In the story, this guy's explaining about how he trained for 6 months to do this. Basically, he has underpants laid on the ground in a line. He steps in the first ones, and the clock starts, and he pulls them up, and he proceeds to do this 9 more times in 13.03 seconds. And that is a Guinness Book of World Records. I would think if that can make it, Beach's hemp collection deserves some sort of honorable mention, some sort of response, any kind of response whatsoever from the Guinness World Record people. I mean, I guess they're busy with underpants records, but really, you should check out all of our episodes chronicling
Oh,
Beach's huge hemp collection. We do it every single week on all these shows, over 250 shows, however many it's been now. It's called the Beachwear segment. All I have to do is ask Beach a simple question, and he tells you all about it. When I say, "What are you wearing, Beach?"
that's right. This is, I call this my black and blue outfit, or a black and blue outfit anyway. Um, from head to toe. Up top there, I've got my Team Death Star grassroots hat. There's my hemp hoodlamb jacket, nice and thick and warm. And I love this time of year. This is my hemp hoodlamb. I guess it's more of a, I don't know if it's a coat or a jacket. Maybe a coat. That's a coat. Because I have hemp hoodlamb jackets too. I don't know. I'm going to look up the difference, but I guarantee you there is one. Now, the shirt I have on the top here is a shirt that has never been shown on the What Are You Wearing Beach segment of the show. And it's made by American Hemp Mercantile, super old. Just found it like in a box. It's like super faded on the shoulders if you look closely. But yeah, so this is a classic. It has, again, it's making its What Are You Wearing Beach debut. I'm sure of it. Underneath that is what I call, it does have a label, but all it says is made in China. So it's a made in China long sleeve shirt. But it's interesting because it does have a nice little hemp tag on the side, and then it's got it does say on the other tag on the inside that it's hemp and everything. But the collar tag just says made in China. So guess that's all they could afford, help keep the cost down at the time. Because I can only imagine, how this shirt retailed from American Hemp Mercantile back in the day, one way or another. Kentucky Hemp Outfitter jeans, my favorite jeans, seen often. Actually, probably the most seen piece of clothing that I have are my Kentucky Hemp jeans, Kentucky Hemp Outfitters jeans, which I have a lot of pairs of and love to wear. Holding those up is one of those Hempy's belts I was mentioning earlier. And then in the pocket there, per usual, is my Green Springs Technology pen. You're going to see more pics of those in the news segment. Little teaser there. Stay tuned. And then, how about those Hemp Traders Argyle socks right there on my feet being worn? And my pairs, again, it's hard to say how long I've had, my pair of these, but they're holding in there, tried and true, pretty good. And they're thin. This is a thin sock, not a thick sock. So not necessarily a winter sock, but they're a thin sock, which works well for these Nike SB Dunks that are so rare. I couldn't even find a picture of them anywhere on the internet. And I did my best, and I'm a pretty good searcher. But these are a decent amount of hemp on these shoes. And I don't know how old they are, but they're only a size 11. I usually wear 11 and a half. That's why I say the thin socks work well. I've actually made these, and I think these have never been on the show as well. So there's a pair of shoes that have never been on the show, because these are really my boat shoes, because I usually wear them without socks on the boat, if nothing else. And so, but they've been up here over the winter, and I said, you know what? I've never worn those on the show. So there you have it, 2 pieces of clothing, and this is, just so you know, if you're keeping record, we've done 240 of these shows. So I've displayed 240 different combinations of hemp clothing from head to toe on the What Are You Wearing Beach, and there are 2 pieces of my collection that you have never seen before. So
I have a question, Beach.
I like it. I'm gonna, continue to try to find unique.
How fast can you put on 10 pairs of hemp underpants?
I'm gonna start training immediately after the show.
I think that's the key.
I mean, I could picture how he did it in my head, just by kind of how you displayed it. Just have them open on the floor. So all you have to do is just basically step into them, pull them up, step into them, pull them up, step into them, pull them up. I definitely have 10 pairs of hemp underwear, and I'm also picturing in my head starting with the thinnest ones that I have, and then going to like some of my boxers that are a little bit bigger, and so it's easier to layer them up. Boom, layer them up, and so
13.03 seconds.
13. I got it. I figure I'm gonna shoot for a second a pair.
There you
go. Train on that, and then I'll know I'll be able to break the record when I have to.
That's right. After 6 months of training.
Which is hey, some people don't have anything better to do. I shouldn't say that, because I have the time to train. Even if I laid them out at night and then I woke up in the morning like, boom, man, this is how I'm going to get up in the morning. I'm going to jump up and put 10 pairs of underwear on. Hemp underwear. So not only am I going to break this record, but they're going to have to talk about my hemp clothing collection.
That's right. Once you get them over here for the underwear thing, then you're like, hey, look at all my hemp while you're here.
Right? Yeah. Well, I have to say, I cannot believe that I had holiday commercials and I forgot to show them before the holidays. So I doubled up today with 2 of, a couple of the funnest holiday commercials that we ever made. So we'll be back with the news right after these post-holiday commercials.
For shopping day and night, Temptations for the holidays will make your price burn bright. Make a shopping dash, come raid Temptations stash. You're sure to find great hemp gifts while saving lots of cash. So have some cheer, get in here, everybody get along. The holidays happen once a year, it's 420 all year long.
Are you having Temptations?
For 20 years.
Having Temptations for 20 years.
Dudes, this is going to be a great hemp giving holidays.
Last year could have been better.
Don't worry, this year brings the largest selection of hemp, including CBD supplements and topicals, the newest vaporizers, and the new Hemptations in Dayton, and of course, much, much more.
Sweet!
And Hemptations for 20 years plus has been the procrastination destination for all your holidays goods. Hemptations.com. Having holidays Hemptations?
There you go.
There you have it. There you have it. Good stuff. You can see the first one, I put them in the right order because the first one we only had the 3 stores. And then the second one we had actually added the Dayton store, which of course is closed now. And so anyway, fun stuff. And I had a lot of vision, and I don't remember what happened with them, but I had vision of doing other just regular year commercials in that South Park animation style. And we never really did too much more other than that. And you can see in the second one too that they tweaked my look even more to make me look even more like me. The first one I kind of look like me. The second one, it's a pretty good rendition of me. So, I've always got that going for me. A South Park animation style version of me, so I can feel good about that. All right, well, let's get on with the news. I'm going to do the worst news first, which is apparently Donald Trump has picked the South Dakota governor to be his running mate, and she is the least friendly cannabis politician in the world, I think. And I'm like, she put out a video to fight against the legalization of hemp that showed drug dogs in it. I mean, that was her attitude towards hemp. Again, I'm not kidding about this. It's been a while, and they've since then, South Dakota has, in fact, I do believe they were one of, if not the last state, to make industrial hemp legal. It wouldn't even surprise me if it's still illegal, but I'm pretty sure eventually they did it. Eventually they convinced her about how big of an idiot she was about this to begin with. She obviously had no clue. And so, that's why I mentioned it. Because, again, least friendly cannabis politician in the country, at least. At least. Tried and true. And so, not good. So, anyway, let's get on with the good stuff. I wore my SB Dunks lows, and these were the 6.0s earlier. Nike's releasing their newest version of the SB Dunk, and it doesn't have a whole lot of hemp on it, but that piece on the inside of the toe basically is hemp. I believe that the extra fatty, and that's kind of how they described them, extra fatty shoestrings. I'm hoping, I believe those might be made out of hemp too, and then possibly the fiber on the tongue. But it's not a lot of hemp, but it's a little bit of hemp, and a little bit is better than none, as we say here on the High Noon Hemp Show. No matter what hemp it is. Article in the Men's Journal: taking dieting slow to get the best results. And I quote, "There are some very healthy fats rich in polyphenols like hemp seed extract." And it's funny because they mentioned it was like proteins were first, and they didn't mention hemp and proteins. But then when they mentioned like essential fatty acids and whatnot, hemp was there as well. So because hemp could have been in both categories for sure, high concentrate of protein and all the other good stuff that makes it a great food source for all humans, one way or another. So and this is the name of them, the number one hotel, and that's the chain of hotels is called the One Hotel. That's the number one in there. The One Hotel. Well, in Central Park, and these are the whole chain is, and this is part of an article that was talking about sustainable luxury. Just so you know, sustainable luxury, which is in demand. Apparently, the demand for sustainable luxury has gone up, according to the article, in demand. So it's good to see that rich people are willing to, make the conscious decision to make an effort to spend their money wisely when it comes to the planet. I love that. But anyway, Central Park, the One Hotel, Central Park, has hemp mattresses. So you can go sleep on hemp. I think I saw $436 a night. Um, but they supply. It's good that they found a supplier for one to supply a whole hemp or a whole hotel, depending on how many rooms they have to begin um, with hemp mattresses. They didn't say who made them, but that was part of their hemp or part of their sustainability was their hemp mattresses. So that was pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Good job, the one hotel chain, for doing sustainable luxury right, apparently. The MSN article, How to Build a Sustainable Winter Wardrobe. Number 1, sustainable fabrics like organic cotton, hemp, tencel, or recycled polyester. So there you go. Find yourself some, and once again, I have a full line of hemp winter wardrobe. It probably has some of this stuff and I don't know, it's not real fur that's on the hemp hoodlums, but I don't know what they're using there for their fur knockoff. Unfortunately, I know it's not. I'm pretty sure it's not hemp. It's probably the only thing on the jackets that isn't hemp 9 times out of 10. But I'm gonna have to look into that because I could be wrong. So, build your sustainable winter wardrobe. And of course, if you need a hemp hoodlam jacket, you need a jacket for the winter, get into either one of the Hemptations locations. See what we've got. I would come to Sharonville once again because we have a huge selection, women's and men's hemp jackets, and we're wheeling and dealing because we have such a huge selection. So check them out. I say do it. And I'm going to try to maybe start listing some of them even on eBay at really good prices as well. Brand new, never worn stuff. Plant-based foods. And I have talked about them before. And it was when they were much smaller because they just collected or earned or got, I don't know how to say it, like $3 million from investments. They were selling stocks at, I think, 10 cents a stock. I almost feel bad that I don't do the stocks thing and didn't buy into them. But they raised over $3 million selling 10-cent stocks, I think they were. Wow. And so good for them. Now, their foods are mostly on the West Coast. I'm sure you can check them out online. I don't know if they ship across the country. I know the one foods that they were showing that have made it into like 3 of the major grocery stores out in California, or one of the major grocery stores was Taquitas. And so, but I do want to quote the CEO and co-founder. She says, "I am happy that plant-based foods can remain at the forefront of the food technology with our hemp-formulated superfood products." And so once again, specifically, they're not just adding hemp to certain lines. I think they use hemp in any way they can in any of their foods that they can. So keep it up, Plant-Based Foods. Check them out. I believe they're trading as Planet-Based Foods Global Inc. I would guess. I believe that's the full name of the company. I'm going to have to go look, but I'm going to guess that they probably don't ship anything to any grocery stores around here. But I could be wrong. It just depends. Here's a new house. This is what they call the Cape Cod Hemp House. And this is a pretty decent sized structure, as you can see. Now, what they did was, again, it was hemp insulation. Hempcrete used as insulation, but they used it in the walls that are 12 inches thick. And again, I get it. Cape Cod gets some crazy weather, I'm sure, from hurricane type weather coming in off the coast, to snow, to whatever. Okay. And so 12 inches in the walls, and not to mention, once you get it warm, you want to keep it warm. There's a huge structure like this. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine in Cape Cod what it, in the winters. But 12 inches of hemp lime in the walls and 16-inch thick roofs. And so underneath that roof, because they covered it, I guess they just put boards down and then filled it in and then let it dry or whatever, and then attached the shingled roof to it. But 16 inches thick there. So if I remember correctly, the article said the walls and the roofs themselves will sequester like 22,000 kilograms of carbon. Again, which is amazing. Honestly, can you imagine if we all built out of this stuff or use this stuff like this? Not that we need 12-inch walls here in Cincinnati, but we get a decent winter and we get a decent summer. And as much as you want to keep the warm in the winter, you want to keep the cool in the summer. So that's why hemp as insulation, basically, the hempcrete, hemp lime as they call it here, because that's really what it is, because it's hemp and lime, because lime is one of the other mixtures with crete and water, I believe, and that's it. And so hemp lime is really a better name for it than hempcrete, in my opinion, but it makes sense too with the hempcrete, obviously, one way or another. So pretty cool use, no doubt about it. So apparently, in North Korea, I think I sent you a picture of these bags. The sacks, they call them sacks of grain, in North Korea are made of straw and hemp, and there's a shortage. Doesn't look like a shortage there. That's a lot of, and this is just one province or one area of North Korea. But apparently they're not growing enough straw or hemp in North Korea. And so there's actually a shortage of these. In the article, it mentioned that the military reuses theirs. And so again, look how durable they are to begin with. But I guess they're going to have a turn-in program. Like, when it's empty, bring it back. When it's empty, bring it back. We need it back. And then tell the farmers that need the grain for one reason or another to start growing more hemp. And then that probably won't be a dilemma. North Korea, they can't import from a whole lot of places. And I bet they can't even import. I wonder if they would even import. I would assume they would still import from the Ukraine. Maybe not though, Ken, because they're not communists anymore. So I don't think they would. They'd have to import from Russia, and Russia does, I believe, grow a lot of hemp. But they can't. Or China, they should be able to import from China even. They're still communists. I don't know. And maybe they do. They just can't keep up with it. I don't know. But they're smart enough to use straw and hemp. The hemp part is, I'm sure, very durable, keeps it very durable. But not smart enough to grow enough. Come on, North Korea. What's wrong with you? Besides all the other things that's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Here's the pic of a couple Green Spring Technology pens, and Mitch McConnell. The rest of his politics I don't want to talk about, but the one thing that he did, almost single-handedly, in my opinion, was legalize industrial hemp. He was fully educated about it, being from Kentucky and the history of Kentucky and all the hemp that was grown. He knew the difference, and he was educated on the difference of hemp. And he took it to Washington. And the 2014, the next thing you know, there is a section, I can't believe I'm going to forget, 3606 or 6306. I used to have it memorized, but the section that legalized industrial hemp and specifically defined what industrial hemp was, which was mainly stating that 0.3% or less THC, that was it, cannabis sativa with less than 0.3% THC by dry weight. And then that opened up the floodgates to the 2018. It was actually the 2013 Farm Bill because it was 2014 was the first year we grew. 2013 is when it was legalized, or made legal federally in the Farm Bill. And then 2018 came along, and that Farm Bill took off industrial hemp off the controlled substance list, and that was huge, because up until for those 4 years, you had to get your license from the state or get approval from the state to grow, and then you had to get your seed approved by the DEA. And I remember that first year, and again, they were only growing 7.5 acres in the whole state of Kentucky in 2014. And the DEA tried to hold up the seed, and then were forced to move forward. And then that kind of opened up the floodgates. It didn't open up the floodgates anywhere, because in the first year, 2014, we only grew 150 acres in the entire country, from what I remember. It was very little all the way across the board. And then that's Robert Hoban beside him, who is a huge legal mind in the whole cannabis world, but hemp as well. I think you see their name, Hoban Law, a lot when it comes to anything cannabis related, for sure. And so but there they are holding their pens. Now I want to go ahead and show this next picture, because this was in the 2018 Farm Bill. And what I learned from Robert Hoban, it was, and up until this point, I'd always said that this was one of the greatest loopholes. The 0.3% THC was one of the greatest loopholes ever. And he says, no, but the thing is, it's clearly written in there. And here is, again, what makes everything that's from industrial hemp legal: all derivatives, all extracts, all cannabinoids. I'm losing my vision here. All isonomers, all acids, all salts, and all salts of isonomers. And so basically that made anything that you want to make out of industrial hemp legal. And what's really funny is, again, it doesn't have anything to do with the fiber or grain side. It has everything to do with basically the CBD side and everything else that we can get, that 0.3% THC, out of the plant. 100% legal. Okay. And that's why usually when states try to make these things illegal, they get checked and they get reminded of the Federal Farm Bill, the Agricultural Act of 2018, that once again clearly defines what can be done. So it's not a loophole. It's, as Hoban says, it's clearly in there. It's part of, we're not trying anything but just following what the law says, in all honesty. And so, that's pretty fun stuff, in my opinion, one way or another. So I have talked about the fact that we can make graphene from hemp, and graphene is something that's used in lithium-ion batteries, okay, at a much better rate, so to speak. But there's actually a Wisconsin battery company, and they're building the plant to build hemp carbon batteries, which is a sustainable alternative to lithium ion. And what they're doing is they're going to be processing the woody pulp, the hurd as we call it, into carbon nanosheets, which store more electricity than graphene. And so I would think that that's why you should make graphene out of hemp, because if hemp stores more electricity than actual graphene does, then why wouldn't you make your graphene out of hemp? So kind of interesting there. But once again, what a great use. Batteries That's all it's really say. It's almost like, like the movie, the old movie, Dustin Hoffman, I think it was, when he says plastic. I got one word for you: plastic. And this is in the 70s, and the guy's asking what he should invest in. Um, and as we look at all the plastic in the world, you can see that was true. I would definitely say, two words for you: hemp/batteries. Invest in batteries, because batteries are definitely the future. There will never be a desire for less batteries. There's always, the goal is to always make the smallest battery you can that can hold the biggest power that you can get out of it safely. Okay. I actually grew up in a battery household, I would say, because my stepdad was the plant manager of Exide in Richmond. Okay, so I had a pretty decent battery knowledge from then. And, all I've seen is, again, from phones to everything we do, cars, phones, every direction that we're going is leading into a battery world. From battery generators, they call it generators. It's the big battery storage is all it is. You can run your house if your power goes out. Well, why isn't the solution solar running directly to that box, and you never have to even pay, have any electric, no coal burning electric. And of course, the coal industry, or the electric industry, is moving towards solar and wind power. The largest, and I'm not saying it was an electric company that's building this, but the largest wind power acreage they're working on it right now, and I forget where it is. I'm sure that it's in the middle of nowhere in the country, but it's the largest. And again, I get it. I just saw a pretty neat looking. It's probably only about 5 feet tall, maybe about 5 feet wide, and it was just rows of small fans. And you put this thing out in your yard, or in your somewhere where it's, because it kind of looks decorative, but not, it just looks like a white piece of fence, in my opinion. And then if you have any wind at all, which I think we have a decent amount of wind here, you're making energy totally free. Well, it's not free because you had to buy the unit, but everything after that is free. Another great thing, I have big solar panels, not 100-watt solar panels, unfoldable, big. I had 1,000-watt equivalent solar panel generator. It folds out. The generator was big batteries, and unfortunately, the batteries for that were just not holding up. But I think the solar panels would still work and charge the other batteries that I have, and I just need to get some bigger batteries again. But anyway, and then make that battery out of hemp as much as you can. Let's do it. We can. I'm telling you. So in the article, and I always seem to find these, best, and then they have like 10 different categories of best this, best whatever. But this one was about hoodies, but it was the best sustainable hoodie in the list of best hoodies, and it was Outer Known's Sir Snap. And so Outer Known, OUTERKNOWN. I'm sure that they are online. And I have seen that they, have made hemp clothing before. I don't know if I'd seen their hoodies or not, but maybe. But, once again, it's so funny because hemp always, it's like, I don't know who makes these lists. And they're really, I feel like they're almost selling stuff because, there's always a link, go buy it. But the categories are always, best premium or best this, and it's everything from best shampoo to, and again, I don't know how it makes them, but I can tell you this: whoever is making the list is clearly aware when they need to find the best sustainable version of anything they're looking for, whether it's lotion or whatever. There are hemp products out there, and so it's there is almost always a hemp product on these, and they're always 10 best, and it's like an article kind of, because they usually, at the top they tell you, how they tested stuff or how they did this, and then they list best whatever category, but best sustainable almost always is a hemp product one way or another. So that's pretty cool. Even though once again I'm not sure that Outerknown may have paid for that. I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know for sure if these are paid for ads or not. I can't really tell, and I'm usually pretty good at knowing whether something is an actual ad or something is actual news. These are kind of in between. I feel like they're kind of newsy, educational, but also an ad for all the products. And so, so anyway. All right. Ben Carson, if you remember his name, he was a doctor, ran for president, I believe in 2016-ish, if I remember correctly, and then had a government position in health and something for whatever. He is the most recent. They're going after politician kind of people now, I suppose. And I hadn't seen one of these for a while, but he's the most recent, I don't want to say celebrity, but big name that's getting hacked by the CBD gummy ads. Okay, I haven't had to talk about it for a while because, again, for a while there, it seemed like every other week somebody's name was popping up, from actors to athletes to health-related people, whatever. And again, they use pictures and names and make it look like this guy's endorsing it. It's like they almost make the ads look like they're his products. And then again, it's like a paragraph of information and then a link to buy the gummies. Paragraph of information, a link to buy the gummies. So good old Ben Carson is the latest to get hacked, I should say, for the gummy scam. And I don't know if they ship you anything or don't ship you anything, and I can't believe they still exist. That's the one thing that I think is surprising, and maybe that's why we haven't heard anything for a while, because for a while there, they were moving pretty well. And they got sued by Clint Eastwood twice for like $7 million. And so he won. And so I don't know who they sued to do this, and I don't know if they do it under a business name for as long as they can until they get caught, or I don't know what, and then they go after a different. I don't know how they do what they do, but I'm sure the link to click on to buy the gummies is different for every person they've ever hacked, if I was to guess. And that's really just buying websites, and you can do that by the dozen for cheap, because the website is like PBD whatever. It doesn't have to be a name. It doesn't have to look like anything. You can label it any way you want to in the link, I think, honestly. Maybe not, but either way. What a crazy scam that apparently still exists. And so, as they say, buyer beware, especially when it comes to CBD gummies online and celebrity or big name endorsements. Or even, again, I truly believe they give the impression that these are actually their products. Like, get Ben Carson gummies, blah, 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 blah. So what a scam. What a scam. I tell you, the internet has made the scammers of the world bigger. That's for sure. That's for sure. We're helping ourselves out with phone scams more and more. They're kind of helping us with that. But I feel like, the internet scams are still huge. And so, and everybody's shopping. And I think that's why, because everybody's shopping online. Come into the stores, man. Come back to the stores. Feel stuff. Touch stuff.
Right.
Anyway. Just one event to talk about. Um January 16th, the Science Pub Hemp Industry Presentation at Oregon State University Cascades. It's in the evening, 5:30 to 7:15. It's $22, which includes a dinner. I don't know if they're going to have hemp food. I'm not guaranteeing that. But, sounds interesting. There's not really much going on in the hemp world right now. So that's all I got for you. Honestly. And I feel like that's the one thing I have been seeing more of is more university driven events instead of all the expos are kind of going away, and now it's more of these field days at universities and hemp education and whatnot, presentations and things like that. And again, it is definitely more university / college driven, which is great. I mean, unbelievably great. University of Cincinnati grew an industrial hemp crop this year over on the west side of town. They did not have in the end run, and I would have liked to have gotten out there, and I can't believe I didn't. And I knew all about it. Bonnie, she keeps me informed of these things, and she's the medical marijuana meetup, and I should have guessed. I don't know when that next one is, but hopefully let you know. Hey, thank you. You can watch all the other episodes on YouTube. I would go backwards because they're more relevant. But thanks for watching. And we're here every Wednesday at high noon.
Right.
But anyway, and I think the UC hemp field just went to waste, so to speak. I think they had to just kind of destroy it because they didn't have the funds to have it tested, I think, for one thing. And then, who knows where they would have gone from there, because I really don't know what kind of hemp they were growing for. So hopefully maybe next year they'll grow again and they'll be a little bit more prepared at the end of the season to move forward with it, or maybe get some funding. I'd be happy to donate a little bit anyway, because really all you got to do is just have that testing done at the end of the year. And then after that, it's legal and you can do whatever you want with it. And so, but, so it's again, like I said, I think every major university is getting in on it as something that they need to educate the youth on. If you're going to into agriculture, hemp is something that, just like the endocannabinoid system should be studied by every doctor, and it's not taught in most medical schools. Every agricultural department of every school, if you have an agricultural department, it behooves you to have a hemp, whatever you want to call it, a hemp program in one way or another for your students to learn, whether it's growing fiber to see, what kind of fiber plants are best. And another thing this does for these universities is then it allows them to probably provide the best hemp to be grown in whatever state they're in, because it is kind of pertinent to where you are in the country as to things. I know I've told the story before, but someone asked me once, like, "Hey, Beach, if it becomes legal or you become a hemp farmer, what kind of hemp would you grow?" And I would grow probably. Well, I know I would grow for fiber and grain, and I would want to grow Canadian grain, probably, but I wanted to do French fiber. And this person was like, "Oh, well, you can't grow French hemp in Ohio." I'm like, you can grow any hemp anywhere. Okay, now you may not get the same results that the French do, or, really Italian for fiber, because I did just find out that I did get more proof that Italy is a huge grower, if not one of the largest growers of hemp fiber in the world. And I've always known, and it's always been said, that they grow the best hemp for fiber in the world. Even Armani makes a $5,000 hemp suit, tuxedo, whatever. Um, so, but here's the thing, it's just like when we proved, the colonists, I'm going to say we, although I'm part of the colonist movement, um, proved that American grown hemp was just as good as Russian grown hemp. And this is, let me preface this by about 300 years. Okay, because the U.S. Constitution, I believe that it was, at some point or another, had both hemp sails and riggings that was grown here in America, and Russian sails and riggings, obviously hemp that was grown in Russia, because Russia was where the best hemp was. Thomas Jefferson illegally imported 500,000 pounds or something of hemp seed from Russia through Britain. I think the part was going through Britain to America because it was vital. It was vital to our survival and a big part of the revolution, if you don't know. And so, what I'm trying to say here is, again, hemp will grow anywhere, just about every environment, other than the Arctic, I believe. In the desert, it will grow. And it wouldn't surprise me if you could get hemp to start growing in the desert, that it wouldn't survive after a little bit of, you'd have to self-water at first, but it sends those roots down so far that it might actually get down into the sand far enough to get some moisture out of it. I doubt it. But, and again, it's not going to be great hemp. It's probably going to be like a 2-foot plant compared to a 10 or 12-foot plant if you're growing for fiber, which is what they're looking for now, or a 24-foot plant, which is the tallest hemp ever grown up to now, which was also a hemp traders thing. I'm pretty sure they were involved in that. And so the tallest, what if that's in the Guinness Book of World Records?
Yeah.
But the tallest hemp ever grown was 24 feet. And this was, it just wasn't one or two plants. Okay, this was a field. They show them standing beside these huge hemp plants, and it's a lot of them. It's not. I think the old record was possibly a 20-foot cannabis plant it wasn't hemp, but it was being grown in Amsterdam, and this guy had been growing. He took it up some decks to its tallest. But I do remember hearing something about that at some point or another, that the tallest cannabis plant was grown in the middle of Amsterdam on this guy's decks going up, and it was 20 feet tall. And of course that was for THC. But still had that fiber inside to be used, still had that herd in the stalk, a lot of it. And so, still had technically hemp byproducts, which would technically be illegal in this country because of that THC content. But still viable, and taking no THC. There's no THC in the fiber. There's no THC in the herd. And so you can still build a house or make a bunch of clothing or whatever out of it. And again, and that's why there's so much cannabis that could be used in what we would call a hemp product. And again, no problems with THC. The flower and the leaves are the only place. And the leaves don't even have a whole lot, to be honest with you, from my understanding. But the flower is where all the THC is to begin with. And so that whole rest of that plant, is technically, you just cut it off, it's technically hemp by definition. Because that stalk is less than 0.3% THC, I guarantee it. That fiber inside is less than 0.3%, I guarantee it. The roots are probably less than 0.3%, I guarantee it. And so, the roots we have found have therapeutic value. And so once again, from the root to the top, if it's hemp, every part of it, is legal and should be and can be used for a byproduct. And so, but technically speaking, if we could figure out how to put an exemption in the controlled substance list on marijuana, as they call it, and say stalks and fiber inside are actually hemp by definition, because they really are hemp by definition. If you test that stalk by dry weight, it's going to have less than 0.3% THC. If you test that fiber, again, you can't say it too many times, but I think you're getting my drift here. It would technically be under the definition of hemp. So there's some thoughts for you. Normally I close the show with answering any questions that I get or my beach thoughts. But again, I tend to put my beach thoughts all through the show, as you know, if you're paying attention. So that being said, once again, everybody, Happy New Year. Here's to 2024, full solar eclipse in April. We'll start telling people about it now, because we are very close to full umbra here. And there are parts very close to, within probably a half an hour to 45 minutes of Cincinnati, that will get 3 minutes of total darkness. I'm a space geek, all in all. We went down to Asheville for the last one, because that's where there was full umbra, where we went really close to full umbra, even though it was cloudy. So here's to hoping for good weather. It's April, which means, as they say here, April showers. So we'll see how well that works out. For that matter, it could snow, because it always snows in April in Ohio or in Cincinnati. But we'll hope for sunny days, so it can totally freak out the animals. Anyway, not hemp related, but fun. Thanks everybody for watching. Remember, reduce, reuse, recycle, make everything else out of hemp. Having temptations.
See y'all next week.